What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Establish the Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer here with Mike Gallagher, walking through an 8-game slate in the association and one that is filled with injury information. We've got just 1 month left in the regular season, and it's going to be a hectic 1 month for the injury show. Mike, how are you feeling on this fine Monday?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, a lot of big Q tags. This week we've got pretty balanced, but next week it is heavy Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So there will be some truncated matchups next week. But yeah, it's up on the site for today. Pretty interesting slate. Just a lot of Q tags that are going to shape the slate.
All right, let's get into it from a game-by-game perspective. Let's start with Cleveland and the Pacers on the Cleveland side of things. They're without Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley, Max Strus, Ty Jerome, Amani Bates, and then Dean Wade is listed doubtful here. So who is left for the Cavs? We've been talking about how the Cavs have just had a ridiculous schedule down the stretch here, including a lot of back-to-back games, a lot of travel. I think I heard that they're playing in 14 different cities on the Cleveland broadcast in the next 3 weeks or something like that. Just wild stuff. But who's left for Cleveland tonight?
Good to get a big Garland role. That's for sure. He'll have Andrew Nimbar on him, so he'll start. We think they're going to start Karis LeVert. That makes the most sense. We saw Karis start before Donovan returned. I'll get to Donovan in a second. And then Okoro's a lock, and then they're going to probably start George Niang with Jared Allen at the center spot, Craig Porter Jr. in the rotation, Sam Merrill. And then they ran Damian Jones a little ahead of Tristan Thompson, but that was after the game. JB Bickerstaff said they want to kind of ramp up Tristan, so maybe he kind of cuts into a little bit more. To note that played pretty big in this game with the 3 center usage. But yeah, Donovan basically said he returned too soon. He's like, oh, my knee still hurts, and he admitted over the weekend that he's going to miss some time. So yeah, if you have Donovan in a weekly league, probably got to sit him for what sounds like at least 2 games out there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But expect a really big Garland roll. A lot of Allen touches. We'll see those guys get pretty busy. And then Karis LeVert, we've seen him have a pretty high minute ceiling, so he could maybe play mid-30s. And again, a really good matchup for on-ball guys against the Pacers.
On to Indiana, where they have Benedict Mathurin and Doug McDermott still out, and then the G Leaguers listed questionable here. What other notes do you have on the Pacers?
Not much. Pascal Siakam had a pretty good game over the weekend. Matchup here is not great. We know we like Pascal against weak rim teams. And the Cavs have actually been a little bit worse defensively lately. I'm not sure if it's just small sampling. Maybe they're worn down. Obviously, the personnel's a little bit different there. But yeah, expect a lot of Siakam there, especially when Tyrese Halliburton's going to have Isaac Okoro on him to make it a kind of path of least resistance there. And then, yeah, everything else is pretty much straightforward. The starting 5 is going to be the same. Jalen Smith, the backup 5, Obi Toppin, TJ, and then Ben Shepherd got really talked up for defense. He's really kind of entrenched himself as one of their main bench guards.
All right, let's move to Detroit and Boston. On the Detroit side of things, Cade Cunningham and Simone Fontecchio listed questionable here. They're without Asar Thompson and Quentin Grimes already. What are your expectations here? Detroit on the second end of a back-to-back. Cade listed with that left knee injury management tag. Cade didn't want to go to overtime yesterday, so he was saving himself by taking that shot early. What are your thoughts on the availability of Cade Cunningham and Simone Fontecchio tonight?
Yeah, I think Cade's going to sit, right? The fact that he got a Q tag in a non-back-to-back on Friday makes me think he's going to sit here. Monty Williams said that he's kind of getting worn down a little bit. So I kind of lean sit. So, Marcus Sasser, I think, would start. He's been, we saw him close over Cade last week in one game. So he's probably going to start if Cade sits. And then, yeah, Noah Sarr. And then if Simone Fontecchio, who dinged himself up yesterday, if he's out, I mean, they're pretty thin. They might go to Stanley Mude. They've been playing Evan Fournier a bunch. So I think one of those 2 guys would be the candidate to start. And then, you have Sasser be the bench guard. But they would overlap him a little bit there. So, yeah, kind of getting pretty thin on Detroit, especially if Cade doesn't go. So matchups, not great. Boston's interior defense is really good. But Sasser would have a really big role. And it does help at least a little bit that the Celtics are at least somewhat shorthanded today.
Yeah, on the Boston side of things, they're on the second night of back-to-back as well. They're going to sit J.D. Davison, Sam Hauser, Drew Holiday, Al Horford. They've got a questionable tag on Jason Tatum, questionable tag for Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis upgraded to probable. It seems like, Jaylen Brown sat yesterday, has the questionable tag again today. He had played through a bunch of questionable tags of late. Very disappointing for him not to play yesterday. Cost me advancing on the 555 team in best ball. Tatum has played through questionable tags as well, but hasn't been listed as consistently. feels like we might get a Tatum day off here. What are your instincts on the Celtics?
Yeah, this is I talk about how the guys get the management tags. Tatum has been listed with this right angle impingement thing before, so it's probably just the listing to possibly rest him. He's basically fine. The minutes were late yesterday, but it's Detroit. Like they don't really need to go there. So I kind of think he might sit, and maybe they bring Jalen back. Jalen listed with a right ankle sprain. We saw him get the whatever his hip thing was last week. So different listing. He's been dinged up a few times, so they could just sit this one out. They did lose Sam Hauser yesterday, who was on fire to start the game. May have had a shot at the record had he not gone down. So we're going to get Derek White in there, one of the Jays that they can go. I think O'Shea Brissett's probably a lock if one of the Jays can't go. And then they'd be starting Chris Porzingis, who returned from a hamstring. He was doing some pretty hefty on-court work in the Phoenix game, so he's been ramping up for a little bit. I think they were kind of planning for him to return here. And then Peyton Pritchard, probably a good bet to start. Huge game from him. I think he had 25 potential assists as well. So, kind of a decent bet going on here, but they're pretty thin.
Let's move to Miami and Philadelphia. Miami on the second night of back-to-back here as well. Bam Adebayo listed available with the low back contusion after hitting the game winner yesterday. Jimmy Butler listed questionable with the right foot contusion. He missed yesterday's game. Caleb Martin gets the available tag. They're going to be without Nikola Jovic, right hamstring strain, Kevin Love, Tyler Hero, Josh Richardson, and some G leaguers. What are your expectations on this questionable tag for Jimmy Butler tonight?
Yeah, decent chance that Jimmy's gonna sit. We saw him get ruled out yesterday. Maybe it was back-to-back related, so I'm not too sure. Didn't get anything from Spoelstra there. They did do a bit of a surprise in starting Haywood Highsmith. We thought they may go to Caleb Martin, but they just Caleb off the bench. So yeah, not a great read on Jimmy. It definitely could have been back-to-back related. They were fortunate enough to get the win thanks to Bam hitting the three. He's been got the green light to shoot him now. Spoelstra said he could shoot the threes. He's been making them too. Obviously, the three last night was one of his biggest of the season, if not the biggest. So, I expect Highsmith to start regardless with Jovic out, and then we'll see if Jimmy can go. Probably going to be game time. We'll see if he get the Miami Heat with the expectation to play. Thing that we usually get. Rozier's playing a bunch. Duncan Robinson just killed Detroit. University of Michigan product, hometown narrative for a couple big Duncan games over the weekend.
Philadelphia side of the equation, Joel Embiid, Robert Covington still listed out, as is Anthony Melton. Kai Jones listed out. He's going to just play on the 10-day on the G League contract, so we're not going to see Kai Jones at the NBA level. Tobias Harris listed questionable right ankle sprain. He missed their last game here. What's your read on Tobias Harris' availability tonight? And then we did get some injury news on Joel Embiid recently to share with the class.
Yeah, we got Tobias not going through the shoot around portion. Didn't miss the last game. They started Nick Batum there, so looking like he's a little unlikely. He's just looked terrible. So decent chance he sits. They would go to Batum there, and then Batum's. Embiid's starting to progress to on-court work. Hoping they can get him back by the end of the season. Won't have him this week, I would think. But, we'll see how they can. Obviously, Tyrese Maxey scoring 30 every night. Massive role in his hands. Matchups not great. Miami's defense has been pretty good, taking away transition there. But, really tough for the interior guys. But Kelly Oubre continues to shoot a bunch. He'll be in a pretty big role going forward. Obviously, terrible matchup for centers. Miami's interior defense has been basically the best in the league since the start of February.
And then the update on Joel Embiid, I saw that he had returned to practice, but in a non-contact role. What sort of timeline are we still looking at for Joel Embiid?
Yeah, we're on the front end of it. He pretty much has a 2-week window starting from now. I still think he's unlikely to play given the lack of contact. Usually you take contact and it's another week. So I think he's trending for around April 1st. That's kind of the expectation. So he's kind of on pace, which is good. It's better than having a setback.
Yep. All right, let's move to Portland and Chicago. On the Portland side of things, Jeremy Grant listed doubtful, still without Malcolm Brogdon and Shaedon Sharpe. Questionable tags on Matisse Thybulle and Ashton Hagans. What are your expectations for what we see from the Blazers, Delano Banton's Blazers tonight?
Yeah, Delano Banton, just a massive, massive game. One of our biggest misses from a props and projection standpoint, because it seemed like that they were going to start Scoot. We saw the comments when he returned from injury, saying, the second game back, we're going to start him, and then they dinged him, and then they said, hey, back to back, we're going to keep his minutes down. Non-back to back, they still capped him, so he's probably not progressing as expected. So it's just Delano Banton, just drive maniac. I think he had 17 drives. Big handling. He out-touched Anthony Simons in this game. Quite a massive role for him. Ant playing a bunch. DeAndre Ayton's been fantastic. Chris Murray, Tumani Kamara would lock in the starting five. We saw Jabari Walker return from his hip inflammation and didn't run away with it just because they played the starters so much besides Chris Murray. So yeah, expecting the same kind of approach here. We'll see if Scoot gets flipped, but I think that he's just not progressing like they hoped. For him to mids to come down the way they have, it's not encouraging. So it's kind of Delano Banton, apparently it's his time.
Yeah, and he's been great, to Delano Banton's credit. He's an interesting guy because he has a lot of length, positional size, which is something that's become big in the NBA. So if Banton, this is his time to shine in the last month of the season to potentially earn kind of a bigger contract going forward. Chicago side of things, Alex Caruso listed questionable left toe soreness. Kobe White doubtful with that right hip strain. They're still obviously without Patrick Williams, Julian Phillips, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball. What are your notes on the questionable tag for Alex Caruso tonight?
Yeah, not good. This is the same toe that he hurt in November, he hurt in December, and he hurt in February. So this is quite a big lingering thing for him. Decent chance he sits here. Kobe was at shoot around, but didn't do much. Yeah, they don't have Caruso here. They're getting pretty thin. We're going to probably see 40 minutes out of DeMar Ayo-Dosunmu, and then we'll see what they do here. Obviously, Torrey Craig kind of locked and loaded. They might go to Javon for on-ball defense. They might go to Dalen Terry. They might go to Omar Apatim. Kind of a lot of options there. And again, the headline would be, just thinning out. The Bulls underperform against bad teams. So this is kind of I guess this is, this is your official Mike Gallagher bad basketball game of the night. I think you have to go there here. Shout out to the Bulls. We did cover the Bulls in depth though in the pod last week, but it could get pretty thin. But this is a game I'd want to attack for sure, as I think Caruso's got a good chance to miss.
Yeah, and I think your note on Javon Carter potentially starting is a good one. I think you could see the same reason for Dalen Terry potentially. Dalen Terry's got some size and length to him, so maybe the challenge is obviously you're starting to rely on a lot more offensive role for Ayo-Dosunmu. So actually asking him to then have Anthony Simons on the other end is a little bit concerning. But if they're going to run Delano Banton with this kind of usage anyway, it's like unavoidable in terms of where you can hide these guys. So I could see Dalen Terry potentially getting that start as well, but it is obviously a shaky situation for the Bulls as they're down, LaVine, Kobe White, now maybe Caruso for a team that didn't have much depth coming into the year. It's really being tested in this one. All right, Minnesota.
I did want to shout out, if I could just shout out the Sumo over the weekend, 14 points on 20 drives, 13 transition points, and 13 spot up points. He put it all on display in his career high 34. He looks awesome.
He's been great. The one thing that if you're a Bulls fan to really hang your hat on this year has been the development of Ayo-Dosunmu and Kobe White. They look like a legitimate potential future backcourt together that could be, a play-in, playoff level kind of backcourt. We'll see if they can grow beyond that, but both those guys have been great this year. That's been the bright spot for sure. Minnesota and Utah. On the Minnesota side of things, Rudy Gobert questionable with that left rib sprain. Kyle Anderson questionable with right shoulder pain. Monty Morris questionable with a left hamstring strain. Good news, Anthony Edwards is not listed on the injury report tonight for this matchup against Utah. What are your expectations for Gobert, Monty Morris, and Kyle Anderson?
Yeah, Chris Finch did not have a timeline for Rudy Gobert. We saw him last week get hit in the ribs, and it looked terrible. So it sounds like on a back-to-back as well. They play tomorrow they get Denver. So they're probably going to take it easy today here. So could see someone sit. The Q tags are like, if it wasn't a back-to-back, I'd basically say fake Q for Monty Morris and Kyle Anderson. But given the way it's back-to-back and they get Denver tomorrow, I think there's a chance they manage them. The Q Alexander Walker would start for slow-mo there, and then his minutes would be really high. I think they'd play him a bunch, over 35, especially if Monty Morris misses. If Gobert does sit this one out, it would be the Naz Reid show. Really busy in the last game, 35 minutes, 22, 12, and 5, 2 blocks, 2 steals. Just a gorgeous line as expected here. And then Ant, easy 31 Saturday with Chris Dunn. We'll talk about him in a second. But I think that there's a good chance that the Wolves kind of dial it back here today before they get a huge game at home against Denver tomorrow.
Yeah, we also saw Mike Conley, the offensive role, pick up quite a bit in the absence of Karl Anthony Towns. And I think part of that is just, the pick and roll, pick and pop stuff with Conley and Naz Reid is going to be really effective too. And the usage kind of scaled back down. He was just super efficient in this one. 5 for 7 from 3, 20 shots, 31 points. That's how you do it. Utah side of things, Larry Markkinen listed questionable here. They're still without Jordan Clarkson. Johnny Juzang listed out due to G League, and some of the other G Leaguers as well listed out here. So the big news is Larry Markkinen in the questionable tag with that right quad contusion. What are your expectations here for Lowry?
Yeah, those G League tags I think are pretty telling here that they're going to probably have Lauri Markkinen back, who's been out with a quad contusion. Really no signs from Will Hardy about progress on Lauri. But again, just moving those G League guys down makes you think there's a pretty good chance he starts. And he would almost certainly be taking the spot of Bryce Sensabaugh. So it would be a starting lineup of Keontae George. I think Chris Dunn's going to start. I'll get to that in a second. We'll see if John Collins returns. He was rested. He probably starts here. And then Laurie Kendricks for the starting 5. And then, after the game, Will Hardy basically said that with Jordan Clarkson out, they want to kind of pivot Colin Sexton into a 6-man role. And then they also wanted to start Chris Dunn to guard Anthony Edwards. So I think they're going to run that back. So expecting, I said the starting 5. We'll see Juzang get cut. Pretty big minutes out of Sexton there. And then, Bryce will still have pretty decent minutes off the bench. And then the center minutes will be covered by Walker and John Collins. So we could kind of get back to like that 9-man. But and then should also note Keontae George got benched late in this game. He got pulled out because Will Hardy said something along the lines of just not executing properly. He said that it was, quote, for a lack of execution. Why Keontae got pulled. So, not a great game. And he was pissed. This was one of the most pissed Will Hardy pressers I've seen from him. So we'll see if there's any short leashes on guys, namely Keontae, if he could. I think he's still going to start, but he'll have a little bit shorter leash, especially with getting some more depth back.
Yeah, and in terms of the depth back, we're talking about potentially bringing back Larry Markkinen, John Collins, who wasn't available last game, and you're talking about taking out Jason Preston, Johnny Juzang, Micah Potter in terms of those names. So that gets us to the 9, right? If we're kind of playing kind of straightforward there. So, all right, let's get to Memphis and Sacramento. On the Memphis side of things, they're without Luke Kennard, John Morant, Scottie Pippen Jr., Brandon Clark, Derrick Rose, Marcus Smart, Lamar Stevens, Yuta Watanabe, Zaire Williams, and then Vince Williams is listed doubtful. Notable 2 names not on the injury report, Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. We saw these 2 return last game. They played a really competitive game against OKC. I think it's exactly what Memphis is looking for this time of the year, which is the really competitive game that Jaren and Desmond look really good and they lose. I think that's the ideal scenario for Memphis in the front office at this point of the year. But what are your expectations on who's available tonight? We saw relatively tight rotation from Memphis last time out.
Yeah, one of the tightest rotations we've seen in a while. 39 minutes from Santi Aldama as well. So, we know. I think 4 starters we could feel pretty good about. That's Desmond Bane, Gigi Jackson, Santi Aldama, and Jaren Jackson. So it comes down to John Conchar and Jordan Goodwin, I think, are the candidates here. I kind of lean Conchar because Bane was lead handler anyways. He had the most touch time on the team, and they basically said they're going to make him a facilitator on the offense. So I think it's point Bane. Matchup's really good for Bane here, as it is for Jaren. Bane actually got held in check the last time they played. Keegan Murray did a decent job. He'll get Keegan again. And then Jaren's role is just so good. The drives are still there. He outdrove Bane, but the pick and roll handler stuff went away, but they posted him up a ton. So Jaren's just have a massive, massive role. We love centers against the Kings. Considered cover boying. Jaren actually went with Anthony Edwards here, but Gigi, pretty big role from a shot volume standpoint in a lot of minutes. So it's kind of concentrating here after we were playing so much guesswork. We kind of know that we're going to get kind of a 3-headed offense with Bane, Jaren Jackson, and Gigi picking up a lot of shot volume.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Bane and Jackson. Someone in the chat asking if the most improved tickets on Bane are still alive. They are not. They're long dead. Let's move to the Knicks or the Sacramento side of this game where Trey Lyles is out, Sasha Vezenkov out. What are your notes on the Kings?
Yeah, not too much to add on the Kings. A little bit of a Fox slump. We saw Herter get the Q tag over the weekend. He's generally been pretty good. Malik Monk pushing like minus 400 for 6-man, despite Bobby making a little bit of a case yesterday. Don't have too much to add other than Sabonis just massive role, first in the NBA in front court touches in March.
Let's move to New York and Golden State. On the New York side, we got early information. OG Anunoby listed out with that right elbow. Listed out as injury management, which is an encouraging tag. Julius Randle's still out with the right shoulder dislocation. Then Mitchell Robinson, of course, out due to left ankle surgery. Jalen Brunson not listed on the injury report after he went ham over the weekend. What are your notes on the Knicks?
Yeah, let's start with Brunson. The minutes limit is, quote, pretty much off. And anyone who's seen him play in the last 2 games probably didn't need that quote from me there. So, yeah, he's good to go. And just an unbelievable game from him. 42. They were doubling him. Didn't matter. Got right through it. Split double teams all night just to get some of the roll stats. And Brunson is just the king of the roll. The last game, he had 18 points on 16 drives, 9.8 minutes of touch time. Just one of the best rolls in the NBA. So expect him to be in a pretty good spot against likely a lot of Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga. Probably see a little bit of pods too, but they like to put size on their handlers there. Yeah, OG's out. We saw him. He was not right. His form was kind of jacked up over the weekend. So they're going to sit him out. Got ruled out early. Not a good sign. We saw 2 games ago it was bothering him too. So this is a little concerning. I know it's nice to see he has an injury management tag, but they need him, man. He's just like their on-off splits with him are out of this world. It's like 12 points better defensive rating. They've been unbelievably good in their last 5 games, 92.6 defensive rating, including 76 half court. They are just back in a big way defensively. So we'll see probably 42 minutes out of Hart. We'll see Precious Achiuwa start. That'll help Isaiah Hartenstein's minutes come up. We know he's been kind of splitting with Precious, but now not having to compete with him as much should help more. Boyan, a little bit of Deuce, and then Alec Burks kind of coming alive and had an okay game over the weekend. But yeah, could be concentrated minutes here against the Warriors. Defense has gotten a little bit worse after about a solid month of playing really strong defense.
This is the first time, and I'm just like double checking this now, but this line here from Hartenstein is the first time that we've seen what to me looks like a Hartenstein line in a long time, in probably go back to like the beginning of February when he looked like pretty fully healthy. So I was really encouraged by just like what this line looked like against Sabonis, which is the exact type of performance that you need from Isaiah Hartenstein. You got now OG Anunoby out, as you alluded to, opening up more potential floor and ceiling for playing time. I kind of think we see a big Hartenstein role and performance tonight. So I'm excited. He's a player. I think he was an original My Guy last year. I think I might have had him on the team. So. Yeah, I did have him on the team last year.
Yeah, you did.
And and I just really like the player. So I was encouraged. He had been battling a bunch of nagging injuries. This was the first line of hits that looked healthy to me. So I'm excited about that. All right, Golden State, nothing listed on their injury report. So we got a clean injury report for Golden State coming off their nice win against the Lakers. What are your notes on the Warriors?
Yeah, we saw Draymond not affected by that Q tag. Minutes were really full. We don't usually see Draymond get up to 34, but a game they had to get for the 9-10 to hopefully give them home court if they can't climb out to 7-8. But yeah, Steph, great, 34, 24 shots, all off ball. He had 6+ points on off screen, dribble handoffs, and some other play, but it wasn't on ball. He was like heavily used off the ball. Him and Draymond, 2-man. We know they love that split action. That was kind of on full display. But yeah, Steph, good to go. He'll be pretty much full minutes here. Pretty straight rotation here. Mostly an 8-man sneaking in some Gary Payton. It's go time. The Warriors need every win they could get. So matchup got a lot better with OG out now. So I think that there could be some upside here. I should mention the Knicks and Hartenstein. Their rim defense has gotten really, really good lately. So it's not a great matchup for Kuminga. Draymond's not going to score a lot. Wiggins won't score a lot. So we'll see if Steph could kind of carry these guys.
What's your expectations for matchups here? Because I'm thinking DiVincenzo on Curry. Yep. I thought immediately Precious on Kuminga, but they might not. They might have Precious on Dre. But Precious, they've really liked the defensive work that he's been able to do of late. What are your thoughts on who they deploy on Kuminga specifically?
Yeah, I think it's straight. I think they're just going to roll Precious. I think they're going to, as you mentioned, they'll have Brunson on pods and then Steph on Dante. I expect that to kind of happen. Well, it will be different for the forwards will be guarding Brunson, but yeah, I think it'll be straight besides the 1-2 flip with Dante on Curry.
All right. Last game of the night to touch on Atlanta and the Lakers. We'll start on the Lakers side just in case we go the full 5 here and get the 2:30 injury report from Atlanta. But on the Lakers side, it's not the usual injury report. So instead of our usual questionable tag on LeBron James, out tags on Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood, and probable tag on Anthony Davis, we have the questionable tag on Anthony Davis after he left last game early, left corneal abrasion. Man, that knocked me out of the industry pickup semis. I needed one more block to be able to advance, and didn't get a Go Barrett. Got one Go Barrett game and got 1 1/4 AD games this week. So tough season long week for me. Do you expect Anthony Davis to return tonight?
Yeah, feel you on the tilt. My 30-man team got derailed. Lost 2 Jaylen Browns game, lost Curry for the week, lost Keegan game, lost a Herb game. Tough scene. So yeah, we'll see if we get goggled AD. We know he's had goggles before. Shams Charania said this morning that he could not even, and Darvin Ham said the same thing, that he couldn't even see out of his left eye. But that's gotten better. Shams said he can kind of see now and the vision's kind of back. So we'll see if we get goggled AD. I don't know if this is going to affect his role, but it sounds like he's going to be in there. Then obviously everything else is straightforward. LeBron's playing a ton. The potential assists are high. The drives are up. He's playing awesome. So yeah, again, like, these teams can't mess around. They've got to kind of go for it. I think getting that 9 seed to them is kind of a big deal. So we're seeing some pretty condensed minutes overall here. So don't have too much to add, but we'll see if AD wears goggles tonight.
Yeah, LeBron, man, the production just remains outrageous. And then I'm as excited as I've probably been for a podcast drop in a while, but JJ Redick and LeBron James just announced a collaboration on the 342 network, along with Uninterrupted. First episode dropping tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern with the Mind the Game podcast for LeBron James and JJ Redick. And I love listening to JJ Redick talk basketball. I love listening to LeBron talk basketball. So I am amped. Not meaning to go out of the way to promo other content here that is not part of the ETR network and channel, but that's going to be a great one for basketball fans. So really looking forward to that.
Very much.
Okay, that'll do it for this edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report.
Want to see if we get Atlanta?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. I went to the Lakers and then forgot to come back to Atlanta. I don't think we're gonna get Atlanta on the 2:30.
I don't think we're gonna get it.
I think they're gonna wait. But what are you concerned about? Any concerns about Jalen Johnson on a back-to-back here? Clint Capella on a back-to-back. They kind of stole one last night. What are your thoughts on Atlanta here?
Kind of cut. Bogdan, he is getting examined. We saw him go to the locker room yesterday. We know the illness is bothering him. He was playing poorly, missed a game 2 games ago. So he's probably on the injury report, probably sitting on a back-to-back. So that means it's probably Wes Matthews' season there. And then, Jalen Johnson, big role. There was comments from Quinn Snyder saying they want to run more offense through him. So he'll have a huge role. Led the team in touch time, returning from injury. Expect no limits on him there. And then Clint Capella's been playing a little bit better. The minutes are up a little bit. Actually leads the NBA in paint touches in March. So pretty strong role. And wish he played a little bit more last night to help our Bruno Fernando bet that got hooked. Tough scene there. But my DeAndre Hunter, are you going to start bit is officially dead. If Wes Matthews is going to start over him, there's pretty much, it's just a bit now. But it was a fun bit while it lasted. Maybe it wasn't, but I don't know. It makes me laugh.
All right, that will do it for this edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report.
If we get the injury report in 15 seconds, if you want to see.
While I'm doing the close here, I don't think we're going to get it. As always, if you enjoy the content that we're posting here, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. We're a couple hundred short of our goal of getting to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the NBA season. So help us reach that goal by subscribing to the channel. You can hit the bell and get notifications whenever we post new content or go live if you are so inclined. If you're interested in checking out our premium content, you can go to establishedrun.com/subscribe-MBA for more details on our premium products. It'll be myself and Sam Jaffarinia behind the paywall tonight talking about the good chalk, the bad chalk, the leverage plays, and of course the flag plants on our flagship show, Established Show at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So check us out there. Check us out behind the paywall, establishedrun.com/subscribe-MBA for more details. If you love this free content and want to keep it free, the best way to do so is to smash that like button and help feed that algorithm. That helps feed our families and allows us to feed you the NBA injury information and analysis you need each and every day to set your DFS lineups, your season-long lineups, and make your spread bets and your prop bets. So as always, smash that like button, feed that algorithm, help us feed our families. Nom, 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 nom. We'll see you tomorrow.